In today's webinar, we will give you a quick introduction of Luxent and NetSuite, followed by a demonstration of the powerful features that NetSuite has. And we will close out with an overview of NetSuite pricing and packaging. If you have any questions as we move through this webinar, please put your questions in the Q&A panel, and we will try to get to them either as they are asked or at the end of the webinar. With that, I would like to introduce you to our Luxent team. Today, we have Vivian Kina on the call, Luxent's president and CEO. Vivian has been in the ERP space for over 20 years and knows the ins and outs of NetSuite. We also have Ben Katerberg on the call today, our NetSuite practice director and chief solution architect. Ben comes to us with 10 years of ERP experience and a wealth of industry best practices. And finally, myself, Brooke Geipus, a sales executive here at Luxent with 3+ years of experience in the food and beverage and medical manufacturing space. Alrighty, let's get started. I'm going to pass it over to Vivian.
Great, thanks, Brooke. Hi, everyone. Thank you again for coming. Just to give you a little bit on Luxent, we were founded in 2009. We're located in Southern California, but support customers across the U.S. Celebrating our 15th year, so excited to be doing that. We're a NetSuite Premier Solutions partner, which is a little different than other partners. So we do everything from help companies with the selection of NetSuite, licensing, implementation, ongoing support, and long-term relationships. So we really act as your advocate in the selection of the application and trying to help you long-term with the best use of it. We're certified Suite Cloud developers, so we also have some products on the NetSuite App Exchange and also the Salesforce App Exchange, if anybody has an interest in Salesforce. We have integrations that we do for customers both on a custom level and then our own connectors that we sell along with NetSuite. Focus on startups and mid-markets. Our whole time that we've been in business, manufacturing, distribution, service, and software are the main verticals that we work in. And like I said, we're a Salesforce house. We have a small team. NetSuite comes with a very robust CRM. But for those customers, there's many customers out there that either have Salesforce or have a desire to be on Salesforce. So those customers, we do have a connector and integration to that, and we can help them with those needs. You can go forward. Oh, that's my last slide. So with that, I'd like to introduce Ben Katerberg, and he will take you from here on a look at NetSuite.
All right, thanks, Vivian. Just a real quick introduction here. My name is Ben Katerberg, Chief Solution Architect and Director of our practice at Luxent. I've been working with ERP for well over a decade with lots of different organizations of all different sizes, different industries. I mostly have kind of specialized in manufacturing and distribution organizations. And I've got various ERP experience, including SAP and other ERP systems. And I've been on your side of the table as well, looking for an ERP and hiring consultants and doing all of what you're doing now, just from that perspective. So real quick, just NetSuite by the numbers. I just want to kind of highlight NetSuite was the first cloud ERP that was built. It has always existed in the cloud. They never had to go through any conversion of migrating on-premise structures over to the cloud. It was built on the cloud for the cloud from the very beginning since the late 90s. Originally, it was kind of built as purely a financial system, and over the years, it's been built out more and more and more to the full ERP capabilities with manufacturing, distribution, planning, everything that you kind of hear NetSuite as today. In this time, NetSuite has over 37,000 customers around the world in almost every single country. And just in the last 12 months, they've gained over 6,000 new customers. So if you can see kind of that growth trajectory, everybody has really been getting on board with NetSuite because the platform is so flexible and you can start on it when you're small. You can grow into it, even as an enterprise level size organization. Just to kind of give you a preview, there are kind of industry vertical specific solutions that NetSuite has some pre-configuration delivered for. But many of the companies that you see on here, and maybe even some of your own companies, they don't exactly fit in one particular vertical or the other. We have plenty of organizations who might be manufacturers at heart, but they do a lot of distribution, or they might do a lot of direct to consumer. So typically what we see is most medical manufacturers, they really do fall in a lot of the manufacturing space, but being on the NetSuite platform, you are able to kind of expand into other types of distribution models and verticals. To give you a little preview on just some of our clients, some other clients that are on the NetSuite platform here, there's just a handful of logos. You might recognize some of these organizations yourselves. All right, you can jump forward here. So what I'd like to kind of communicate around, some of the big benefits that businesses gain with NetSuite is there's a lot of built-in flexibility. There's some native business intelligence, so that NetSuite really gives customers the full picture of their business, all in one place centrally. And you can access this from anywhere. Anywhere with an internet connection, you can log in and track real-time information. Whether you want to have greater control over your organizational data and your control of your operations, it's all built in, interconnected, so that your financials are reflecting what's happening real time every day with operations. Having all of this flexibility and control allows you to be very, very quick in some of your decision making. So companies moving over to NetSuite become much more agile and can make decisions quickly and pivot as needed. And one of the huge benefits moving towards a centralized ERP like NetSuite is the collaboration tools. So many times during implementation, when we talk to companies, they want to focus on, well, how do I send emails? I want to keep emailing people. And yes, NetSuite does have kind of pre-built integrations with email capabilities, but it's just so much more than that, where you don't have to send emails to people in the organization anymore to say, hey, is my purchase order received yet? All of the collaboration tools, all the workflows are already built into the platform. So you really change the way that you do business, and you get away from a lot of the email-based and sticky note communications. And as a result, productivity is increased overall. So specifically in the medical device industry, these are kind of some of the top areas that medical device companies communicate to us that are kind of most important. First and foremost, medical device companies are manufacturers at heart. A lot of the manufacturing complexities typically come in with planning capabilities. So in NetSuite, typically when we work with these organizations, yes, we want to set up the core manufacturing functionality. And this functionality continues to grow every release with NetSuite, so that NetSuite has become a respected ERP in the manufacturing space. And it's tied in with the planning and MRP capabilities. So if you have many layers of bills of material, you have many sub-assemblies, you have many raw materials, you can set up planning to make sure that you have all the raw materials and sub-assemblies all planned together with either dependent demand or even independent demand. The next big piece that is important to all medical device manufacturers is FDA compliance and validation. So during implementation, as we're designing your processes in ERP, we are cognizant of ensuring that we've got these internal, systems of control, and we make sure that we have system controls in place where needed to ensure FDA compliance. We also have team members who are certified and can help walk you through some of the FDA compliance and validation requirements. Next big requirement here we see around medical device organizations is quality. So quality really matters with products. There's obviously huge liabilities that come with the impacts of bad quality product. And so there are pre-built modules in NetSuite where you receive product from raw materials for vendors, and you trigger quality inspections and monitor results. Then during the manufacturing process, you may have additional quality inspections. So we build quality solutions that work for medical device manufacturers, all integrated into the single platform. Another huge one is lot traceability, which a lot of this kind of comes back to quality, where if there is a problem with product, you can look forward or backward to say, where were these raw materials used? And did these get shipped out to customers? Or even starting with a finished good and tracing backward to say, what components went into this that might explain this defect? Another really, really big piece in medical device manufacturing also is on the sales front and the prospecting and the CRM capabilities. So as Vivian already mentioned to begin this webinar, we have CRM built into the NetSuite platform at its core. It comes with the platform, it's integrated. You can look at your various prospecting, the prospect generations, your sales forecasts, all of that's built into the platform. And if you have more unique requirements or you're already using a CRM like Salesforce, there also are integration capabilities around CRM as well. Another big piece also is warehouse management. So NetSuite has its own WMS system where there's no integration required, obviously. This was what allows you to have scanning capabilities to help monitor very small pieces, because a lot of medical device manufacturers have very small pieces that tend to get lost, and therefore WMS requirements are usually pretty heavy there. And then as you look to do things like international expansion, medical device manufacturers may be concerned around approved products distribution, making sure some of their product doesn't go to locations for their customers in countries where maybe the product isn't allowed to be sent. This slide here just kind of talking in general around the financial features of NetSuite, starting as a financial system at its core, but it is modular in nature. So you may have just your basic finance and accounting functions. You may add additional features later. So maybe you aren't international yet, you aren't multi-subsidiary yet, but you want to start adding on some global accounting and consolidation. So this is all kind of some of the financial features that are plug and play here. All right, and with that, I'm going to start sharing my screen. I'm going to show you a little bit of what we have in NetSuite in a demo account. All right, so if you want to stop your share, Brooke, and I'll take over here. All right. So the first thing that you should see here is here's a landing page of NetSuite. I'm logged in right now as a senior executive. This is what's called a dashboard for my senior executive role. There is a dashboard that is part of every single pre-configured role that comes with NetSuite. This was pre-configured already. And when you buy NetSuite, these roles and these dashboards already come pre-configured for you. They just aren't quite as pretty because you have to start loading data into the system. But this is a pre-configured dashboard, in this case for a manufacturing senior executive. This is web-based, so being on the cloud, this is a URL. It's authenticated, so I have to log in with credentials, username, password, two-factor authentication. I get logged in and takes me to this web page, this home page, and just want to kind of share some of the basic features of NetSuite that you'll see here. When we talked about some of the collaboration tools, on the upper left-hand side, you see this reminders portlet. This is some of the workflow that is informing this senior executive of maybe some of their specific actions they need to perform, or just notifying them that something is behind schedule or something is wrong. So some of these reminders here, here is a late sales order reminder. This is full kind of browser capabilities, so I can right click, open it up in a new tab. I can hold my control button, open it up in a new tab. So I can work on lots of different things at once. If you're like me, you may have 10 different tabs open all at once. So as a senior executive, I had a reminder that was just showing me, here's a bunch of late sales orders. I'm supposed to ship on a certain day, and clearly that date is passed, so I'm X number of days late. And I can drill all the way down to the individual transaction. So in this case, here is a customer sales order for Smith Supplies Corporation. They ordered 250 of this item. There were 50 available, and I've committed 50, but 200 are back ordered. But I do have this supply allocation feature. So I can click on the 200 and it'll show me I have 50 in my San Francisco location that's committed. I have 100 that is waiting to be received on this purchase order on this date, and another 50 waiting to be received on this purchase order on this date here. So this gives me kind of full visibility to that supply chain, where I can notify a customer and let them know, hey, we were planning on shipping on this date, but based on our vendors' capabilities, we're a little behind schedule. Or maybe I could go directly to the purchase order itself, and I could reach out to the vendor and say, hey, why don't you air freight this to me to get it here quicker, because I've got customers who are waiting on some of this product. So I can see this perspective of up the supply chain, down the supply chain, whether or not I'm looking at supply versus demand. And this capability also extends to manufacturing as well. So if the source of supply is a work order for manufacturing, I can also see that I might have late work orders for manufacturing, and can help align resources internally to ensure I'm meeting deadlines for customers. Just some of the basic kind of KPIs and shortcuts and dashboard tiles. This just makes it so I can easily see the data that I need to as a senior executive. I can see trends like what is this period versus last period for revenue and expenses, and some basic kind of financial KPIs here. At any time, I can pull up any cash flow or balance sheet income statements with a single click here. And then I might have other important reports here that I want just a single click to get into. So I can just pull up maybe inventory profitability. And there we go. I can start seeing on the individual SKU level what my total revenue, my costs, how many units are sold, gross profit margins, and then maybe what percentage of my total revenue is this particular SKU. Easily right here in some of these reports. I'm just going to pop over to another role here. Let's look at our controller role. So as the controller, I'm going to have my own personalized dashboard that has the reminders portlet as well, but I may have specific things important to the controller, like bills that I need to pay, bills that I need to approve, Maybe there is some of this CRM activity. There's like customers with no activity in the past month. So I have some of these reminders that have been configured for my controller here. Got quite a few invoices maybe that are overdue or periods that I need to close in ERP. So here's just a couple examples of some of these data queries and reports. Any one of these reports in NetSuite does have the ability to drill down all the way into individual transactions. So this was a open invoice report. I can drill all the way down into the individual invoice just to see what's happening there. And then some of my other reports here that my controller may be interested in here is maybe three-way match. I have a little shortcut to look at three-way match activity. This would be anything that's highlighted here that says there's a quantity variance. So I ordered 15, I received 13. So I've got a variance on what I expected and what I actually received here. These variances will also show up for price variances, billing variances, all of this here. If I pull up some of my financial reports, I've got a balance sheet report here. This is kind of the native out-of-the-box balance sheet report. And then I can start to do easy little changes here. I can add little filters to say, show me a balance sheet by a particular location, for instance. So just the Boston location. Refresh. Right, and then that might look a little different. If I want to see something where maybe I see all locations, but I want to do a pivot, I could do a column pivot, rerun my balance sheet report. And then I can see the value of my whole balance sheet broken out based on individual locations in NetSuite. If I want to export this, I have very easy export options. I can just single click a button at the bottom here to export to Excel, export to PDF. I can export to CSV, Word. I can print this. I can email it just one time, or I can even have this set up on a schedule to run. And maybe I have this run weekly on Thursdays from now till no end date. And I can schedule it for a particular time. I can run this at 11 p.m. every night. And then I can copy different users on here and have this sent to them on a schedule. All right. I also have income statement. This is the kind of out-of-the-box income statement. I can do some pivots of my own here. Maybe I have a product class that I have my items linked to, and I want to track my P&L based on my item classification. I can do this little pivot for my column for product class, and then I can see here income based on different product classes, and I can move my date ranges out. We go. So I can see I've got some computing and peripherals income. I have some industrial electronics. I have some medical device. But you can determine whatever your kind of profit centers or product classes are, and then do some of these pivots on your income statement as well. And once again, at any point, I can export it. I can email it, set it up on a schedule to run on a particular period. I can add filters. I can do other sorts of pivots, so I can run my income statement by locations or other kinds of financial segments. All right, I'm gonna start closing out of some of my tabs here. Let's pivot over to maybe a supply chain manager. So this is the kind of home landing dashboard of my supply chain manager. Once again, I have a reminders portlet with lots of different workflows informing me of different activities that are happening throughout the supply chain. So I've got things like expiring lots. If I have any product with expiration dates, I can have these notifications on my dashboard that show I have 2,160 of this specific item and this specific lot in San Francisco that expires at the end of this month. I have some planning alerts telling me that I have some late work orders, late purchase orders. I have some reminders for supply planning that tell me I have, the system is informing me I need to order more raw materials or trading goods here. I have either reorder points, which might be min-max levels, kind of predetermined quantities with preferred stocking levels. Might have planned orders from MRP, as well as blanket PO items that are coming up if I have blanket purchases with my vendors. But all I have to do on this page is submit. As long as they have vendors, just check some boxes and submit. And that's going to generate my purchase orders for me just with one click. And then when these create those purchase orders, I can have them either auto email out to the vendor, either right then and there or upon an approval process as well. Same thing on the assembly side. So on the manufacturing side of the organization, I may have some kind of pre-planned work orders where I want to keep a certain stocking level up for some assemblies or finished goods, or I have some demand based on some demand plan or some dependent demand if there's sub-assemblies here. Once again, another reminder telling my supply chain manager I need to push out some work orders to meet my demand for manufacturing. Just some of the other kinds of navigations on here. I've got some planning forecasts, gross requirements inquiries. I can have entire like costed bills of material for my product to kind of see different layers of my bills of material and associated costs there. I could run reports around inventory turns, inventory profitability, back order, all of these things here on my native kind of reports, one-click option. I've got some KPIs here right out of the box around inventory levels, orders, values of open purchases, and then I can see some of those real-time rates around inventory turns. So these values, they update every time I have transactions run through the system. I can just click a little refresh and see if it changed the underlying reporting KPI results. So you don't have to wait for a BW system to run overnight. All of these reports are real time. All right, can pivot over to a sales manager role. So just from that sales perspective, once again, got a reminders dashboard for my sales manager role with very specific notifications and collaboration around leads and prospects and opportunities. So here's a neat little reminder data query of 379 customers with no activity in the past month. I can modify these data queries to have maybe larger or smaller time frames. And I can even do things like create dynamic groups to say everybody in this group is somebody that has not had any activity in the past month, and now pivot this into a marketing campaign to send out emails with marketing capabilities. Here is a list of some opportunities to close. I've got a forecast. I can pull up my sales forecast. So here's a calculated forecast by sales rep, and there can be scenarios if you want to set up, worst case, the upside or most likely. You can have various scenarios, And any one of these reports, once again, has drill down capabilities. So I can look at Tom Singer and his associated forecast and see what makes up Tom's forecast. So this is going to load individual kind of transactions. In this case, these are actual sales. So some sales orders that haven't been invoiced yet. Here's some invoices in here that are making up some of the forecast. But maybe I have opportunities and quotes that I want to continue to add. So I'll be able to see some of those in the detail of my forecast as well. Here are some of the opportunities that I have that are open right now. And I can see the various statuses of those opportunities and the sales reps associated with those. Also, what I had on my reminders, I don't think I had any results for, was things like calls to complete, tasks due, tasks to complete. Some of these types of tools that are more CRM based, also part of the reminders workflow for me. So that if somebody were to assign me tasks to say, hey, can you call this customer, it will automatically show up on my reminder portlet. I'll be able to click into it and then make my physical call to that customer. And once again, here's some of the KPIs associated with our out-of-the-box sales role here. You can see this month versus last month, new leads, sales. Once again, any one of these numbers I can click on, drill into details, your sales by customer. You drill into the details further and see what underlying transactions make up these numbers. So you have that full kind of traceability within your system of what's happening on the operations side, rolling up to financials and accounting in some of these consolidated reports as well. Right. So with that, obviously there's plenty more that I could show you. So please reach out to Luxent if you would like your own kind of personalized demo, because we can drill into more details around manufacturing capabilities and quality and many, many other features here. So with that, I'll turn it over to Vivian.
Great, thanks, Ben. You can go to the next slide. Just some benefits of working with a partner and understanding, I think there's a lot of choices when you're looking at NetSuite. We'll work to negotiate the contracts for you to try to get you the best pricing and ensure those contracts are good long-term, both on a renewal basis and you're not buying too much software. We just really are looking to work with customers to align them to the right products, to only buy what they need. It's really important to have that experience there. You can go to the next slide. When to buy. NetSuite is aggressively going and trying to make it work for our customers. So as they start, as they're just a startup and just starting with, they're on Excel or they're on QuickBooks and they're really looking for just additional control of the business, additional control of their inventory, just more visibility, better reporting. Those are the reasons why a lot of companies move to a system like NetSuite, or they're on a legacy solution and they're considering upgrading. And there's a significant amount of cost. The maintenance of it is significant. We've taken many customers off older legacy applications and put them on NetSuite and save them significant dollars. So lots of reasons. It's very easy for us to put a price together for you. You can go to the next slide, Brooke. The pricing is structured in a way where you look at the modules first and see what modules you can start with. And you could just start with financials if that is a good starting point for your company. Or you can look at, starting with maybe financials and CRM or financials, CRM and inventory. Whatever works for you, we can pick and select the modules, which is the first base of how the pricing works, then the number of users that you need. And then also there's different levels of packages, like the starter pack, how many users long-term you're going to need, and then what's your growth path. So like I said, NetSuite doesn't lose on pricing. They're very, very aggressive there, and we will work to help you and to ensure you get there. It's very easy for us to put together a budgetary quote. I know a lot of customers ask us to put together some budgetary quotes in November, December timeframe for budgets for this year, which we were happy to do. But if you are looking just to get an idea of the pricing, it takes us about 30 minutes to put that quote together. We need the number of users, we need to know what type of modules you're looking for and functionality you're looking for in phase one. And then if there's any third-party applications, are you looking to do, integrate to your e-commerce? Do you have any EDI needs? Do you work with a 3PL? Those always are just additional questions we need just to kind of give you a full cost. And naturally, we would do not only the NetSuite licensing, but the implementation of the software to help you ensure you have a successful implementation. So happy to handle that for you. We have a great NetSuite pricing guide that I think you can also download or request from us. We just put that together mid-year, so we're happy to distribute that out to you if you'd like. With that, I'll hand it back over to Brooke.
Great, thank you. I want to open it up for questions right now. And if you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the chat. All right, well, it looks like we have one question here. Does NetSuite support multi-country? Pass that over to you, Ben.
So NetSuite does have a lot of localization features built in. So you can have multiple countries set up in your NetSuite instance. And if a user is logged in for a particular country, they may have the format will show in the local currency, and it may have tax capabilities in that particular local tax center. And also with that, if you have any part of your business that is kind of a separate entity in another country, you can set up multi-subsidiary, and some of your subsidiaries might have maybe an international currency as the base currency, and then you can still roll up your financials all the way to a parent level with a consolidated exchange rate.
Great, thank you, Ben. One final question here is, our company manages bills of material within our PLM. Can NetSuite support integration with other third-party applications?
Yes, actually. Brooke, do you mind? Can I share my screen for 1 minute?
Of course. Let me pass it back to you.
All right. I just like to present this because I think this is one of the huge major benefits of NetSuite. There is a Suite Apps marketplace here. And these are pre-built Suite Apps for third-party solutions. So I know it's pretty common in medical device where you might be leveraging like a PLM today. So I can just type in PLM into my search here, and I've got 7 Suite Apps that come up right away. And you can kind of peek in and see some of these Suite Apps are specific to PLM. Some of them are kind of more general connectors. So in this case, here's a PLM connector called for CADLink that can connect you to SolidWorks. If you have like SolidWorks PLM for creating your builds of material, then pushing those over into ERP. So there are some pre-built ones you can find on this App Exchange, but this isn't an all-inclusive list either. There are plenty of other apps that you can find, whether you're doing PLM or even WMS. We talked about NetSuite WMS existing for kind of some base WMS features with scanning capabilities, but maybe you have an existing WMS. We can look at things like RF Smart and some other third-party apps that have pre-built connections already with NetSuite.
Great, thanks, Ben. One final question here that just popped in. Does NetSuite have any account payable automation features?
Yes. So one of the neat things about being a cloud ERP is that NetSuite is always coming up with more and more features. They come up with new features in a bundle twice a year. So they have new releases twice a year with more features and capabilities. And some of the more recent features within the last 2 years, and they keep getting them more and more advanced, are some of the AP automation features, especially around things like bill capture, where you might have invoices being emailed, and you can have the bill capture feature run, which translates, the emailed capabilities with OCI, recognizing characters to translate that into an actual vendor bill, for instance. So there are a lot of AP automation features that are built into NetSuite already, including that bill capture feature that I mentioned, plus many, many more. We've got three-way match capabilities as well for, the vendor bill three-way match and exception processes all built in here.
Awesome. Thank you, Ben. Well, thank you everyone for joining our webinar today. We hope that you got a lot of benefit out of what was discussed. If there was anything that was not discussed today that you are interested in learning more about or have a couple questions about, please feel free to either email sales@luxent.com or submit your request in the survey that should pop up after this call here today. Just one last thing, like Vivian said earlier, we do have a NetSuite pricing guide that is available to you by request. If you would like to have a copy of that pricing guide, please request it in the survey after we close out this webinar. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a great day.